Hey, it's ODB, aka the Lincoln Addict. I'm out here working on my 64 Lincoln Continental Convertible. If you've been following the podcast, which is Lincoln Addict Podcast, you probably have heard me talk about some of the updates on Project Smuggler's Blues. I'm going to patch together a quick video here, and I'll show you guys what I'm working on now. So shout out to Mob Steel. I'm rocking their hat and their shirt. Good people. Love that they've been working on these Lincolns such a long time, and they work on a lot of different vehicles, but I've been following them since really their infancy, and really big ups Detroit up there. You guys are killing it, so keep doing what you do. Okay, so the 64, 65 Lincolns, as I've talked about, if you've watched my live videos on Instagram, or if you've just listened to the podcast in general, or you know these cars, you know the dashes are pretty much identical. And a lot of what guys have been doing, Pat Tien from the Lincoln Forum, as well as Suicide Slabs, he's done a lot on his 64 sedan. I'm basically going through and changing out every bulb in the car. So far I've worked on the 4 door panels and the dash to an LED bulb. So give you guys a quick rundown. Now, typically there's going to be a lot of questions. And what I would tell you is go to lincolnforum.net or thelincolnforum.net. The reason being is a lot of stuff is documented in there already. You can also search the various Facebook groups. But these are the majority of the bulbs that you're going to be using for the dash. And they actually just slide in like this. And that piece there is facing straight out. Okay? The other tip that I will tell you is when you look at, like, these are the style bulbs that I'm talking about here. They basically push in and they pull out. Now, sometimes if they're in a tight spot, they are not easy to pull out, and you can sometimes take a pair of pliers and put on the end kind of gently, and you could pull, and again, that's only in very tight spaces. A lot of times, and I can't remember if on these, a lot of times when you're pulling these bulbs out, there's going to be a number on them. You could type that number into Amazon and you could figure out which bulb you need. I'm not going to go through right now that. Again, if you look at lincolnforum.net and you go into customizing and then members projects, you're going to see I have a huge thread in there. And there's going to be a few that are these style, which I call them kind of like a snub nose, that are going to go in, for instance, as an example right here, where the door, this is the, you know, up and down for the door locks, like that one right there. If you put one of the ones I just showed you in there a minute ago, the majority of them, it's going to stick out too far and it will not sit underneath that blue cap. These guys, I figured it out that, you know, you got to go with something that's a little bit more shallow, if you will. But I'm not going to go through where all the bulbs are at right now. There's a ton of them. I did a document in the Lincoln Forum, but I need to go back and redo it. Try to get this to autofocus. I need to go back and redo it because at the time I thought I had changed out the majority of the bulbs, but there are a ton. And when you look here quickly, you kind of go, yeah, okay, I see where some of them go. But like, as an example, behind the clock, there's 2. There's 2 behind the air condition kind of setup there. And then there's just a ton. And then you've got some, or I mean, you guys would know, like the courtesy lights. Those are a different bulb. Those are a lot bigger. But the majority of the car is, I think, the first ones I showed you. The majority of the car is the first ones I showed you. And then, of course, you had the snub nose ones I kind of mentioned. That's a few of these in here, not a whole bunch. And then you've got the ones in the door panels. But I'd say if you include the door panels, the other 2 I showed, there's probably one other I think that I've used. But the majority of them are the 2 that I showed you. And out of those, the first one I showed you, that's what the majority of those are, right? You know, that pull right out of the dash. But there's a ton of them. I thought I was going to be in the number 4, like in the 40 range. Pat said something like he changed every bulb. in the car, and he said he was upwards to like 70. But of course, he has the sedan, which has the dome light, which of course this does not have. This has the 4 courtesy lights I showed you in the door, and then it also has a shit ton in the dash and in the lower dash. Now, when I say lower dash, there's like a light that illuminates here, behind here, and there's a light that illuminates here, behind here. And I'm not going to show you right now. Well, let me see. Maybe I will. There's this little case deal, and that light was a little bit different there, which I don't think that's going to fit underneath there, underneath the little blue cap. But again, there's a couple here. I know at least 1, 2. I think those are the only 2. Then you've got the glove box. That's 3. And then in the ashtray, I don't think there was, if there's a light here, I can't remember. If there's a light here, then it'll be kind of dangling down here somewhere. But lot of work to do. I mean, I say a lot of work. I mean, if you just do it on your own pace, it's not hard. It's just, you know, to me, it's kind of fun to do it. You also have in 64, 65, you guys know the map light that's right here. There's a light on each side. Now that's been taken out. I polished that. And you don't see the bulbs here right now, but I got to put that little assembly back in there. Those have also been changed out. So again, at first glance, it does not look like a lot, but when you start getting into it, it is. The ones behind the speedometer, there's 2 behind there. Those are not hard to get to, but I know on my buddy Tony's 65, when we pulled out the speedometer, for some reason it seemed like it was tougher to pull out. On my 64, taking the few screws out, that was able to come out, you know, decently, I would say. You know, I was able to pull it out and kind of twist it to get to the right side, and twist it this way to get to the left side. I did use pliers, and the only one, like the last one I just worked on, broke in there. So if you don't have a good grip, you can sometimes put the pliers slightly towards the end of the bulb, and you don't want to squeeze down hard, and you can just slightly pull, and generally they're going to come out like I showed you when a moment ago when I had this. You know, those will kind of pull out. But normally you could put 2 fingers like this, and you could just pull those bad boys out, but it really depends how much space you have. But the reason why I wanted to do this quick video, see, I put my magnet on there yesterday. I had 2 on my shop refrigerator, and I was like, let me find a place, and I don't think I'll leave it on there, but, you know, something cool for shows and whatnot. But here's what we got going on here.